Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Holy Plot. I am still Liam. This is also still Jacob and James. Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1, which came out early in the week compared to when most movies do. Usually we see stuff on Thursday. Obviously, we saw it before, so we're going to talk about it so you can have the most informed decision of whether or not you are going to go see it and get a special thank you from Tom Cruise in the movie theater like the good little boy you are. Anyway, Jacob, you saw
Yes.
the movie. What'd you think?
Going into this, I thought I was going to be a little disappointed despite how people were talking about it, but I actually really enjoyed it. I don't think it's the best Mission Impossible or anything, and I certainly think you're going to get way more out of this if you are a Mission Impossible fan, given how late in the franchise we are. I think James and I are definitely going to go on about the end of the movie and
Oh yeah.
how it reminded us a lot of Uncharted. And not just because there was a train, but it definitely had the same gravity to it that sequence does. So I do really recommend this. I do think the middle drags a little bit. If you care about the characters, you're definitely going to get way more out of this. It's not like a go turn your brain off kind of movie.
No, you definitely have to be paying attention at least a little bit.
A
Yeah.
little bit, yeah.
If you're going to go watch this, I definitely recommend at least watching 5 and 6. Particularly 6 because I do think you're going to get more out of it if you do see those movies. That's kind of my thoughts on it. I'd give this like an 8 out of 10. It's pretty good. I'm not going to get into spoilers quite yet.
I think I am also sitting on an 8. I am about as casual of a Mission Impossible fan as you can get. I've only seen Fallout and this one. That's it. So,
Yeah.
uh, I'm still sitting at an 8. So I don't really have much of a connection to any of these characters, but I've got a serious soft spot for watching Tom Cruise almost kill himself. I gotta admit it.
Yeah, the
Like it
stunts in
is.
this were incredible.
It's crazy shit. That motorcycle thing, it's not really a spoiler, it's in every single trailer. I think it's
Mhm.
actually the banner on Letterbox is this you know what I'm talking about. The motorcycle scene in
The
this
ramp.
movie, crazy. I mean, Tom Cruise, and I'm sure we'll get into this a little bit. He is the last true Hollywood action hero. Like
For sure.
he's that guy.
More
I
than
think
that.
I think Maverick, Top Gun Maverick was kind of about that in a way.
Hmm.
And
Totally agree.
I think that this is also taking that on. But I'll put it like this. I think that it is not not on purpose. I think it is on purpose that Tom Cruise is going against AI in this. I'll say that much.
Okay.
Let's get James
I
on the
did not
board here.
love I did not love the AI plot.
Yeah.
We'll
So
get into it. Let's get James on the board.
my quick thoughts. I'll do you one further, Liam. I wouldn't just say that Tom Cruise is one of the last action stars. He's one of the last movie stars.
Mhm.
Damn.
Which there's current actors who have even talked about how the movie star has kind of faded away. Anthony Mackie talked about that. Um,
Yeah.
he's one of the few people where an audience goes to see the movie for him. So, which you know what he delivers in this movie. The stunts are crazy. The set pieces are fun. It's not the craziest plot ever. And I think Jacob and I might share some like criticisms. But dude, this movie was fun. I would say in the back half of the franchise, I probably like it the most actually.
Really?
Uh,
More than
More
6?
than Fallout?
I would I would say it's definitely a toss up between 6 and 8. I
Wow.
think
Mm.
I think
That's
I'd say
crazy.
I think I'd say that I like Fallout more just
I
because
like Fallout more.
Henry Cavill is a better like foil than the antagonist in this movie.
Oh, for sure.
So I think with that quick instant revision, yeah, 6 is better. Um, but I'm glad I can even make the comparison. So 8 out of 10 for me as well.
All
One
right.
thing I'll say before we get into spoilers is that Haley Atwell is incredibly good in this movie.
Yes.
She's always
Um,
pretty good though.
yeah, but I think this is her best role. I mean, she
Really?
really stood out to me here. Like, I've enjoyed her in other stuff, but I was enjoying her just as much on screen as I was Tom Cruise. And I
She was
think it's like,
super,
Wow.
super charismatic in this, for sure.
yeah, she and we're not gonna go off on a tangent here, but she reminded me a lot of what they were trying to do with Helena and Indiana Jones,
Yes.
where
Mm.
she's constantly trying to backstab Ethan, but it's done in a way that's one believable. Because I don't think like someone's goddaughter is gonna try and kill them via Nazis. And two, I understood her motivations, and honestly, I didn't blame her for doing the things she does. And I like the character arc. It was a lot more organic in this movie.
If someone put spoilers, I guess we can just get into spoilers. It's a good
Yeah,
movie.
do
Go
it.
see it. If
Definitely
someone
go see it.
put a phone in front of me that was, I don't remember the number, it was like $1 billion to press accept, dude, I'd think about it. Shit, I don't.
Dude,
I'm
listen,
not gonna penalize her for that.
Helena is like the Diet Coke that has been sitting out for 8 hours to Haley Atwell's fresh glass bottled Coke. So,
I think that's a
huge
fair
fan.
comparison. I don't know. I don't want to get too caught up in that. I mean, another comparison I can make is definitely like the train sequence. Is that this movie, they are actually fighting on top of a train. If you went and saw Indiana Jones, you might have gotten the same trailer that I got, which showed like the behind the scenes of the film. It was more of like that kind of ordeal opposed to a trailer. And it showed the whole process of sending the train off the bridge, which they actually did. They of
Mm.
course like prettied it up with
Dang.
CGI, but they sent the train off the bridge into like a little pool thing. Um, they were fighting on top of the train, which I thought was incredibly impressive.
Wow.
Yeah, so this movie once again just kind of continues to push the limits of stunt work in a year that we've already gotten that with John Wick
In Rome, no less.
in Rome. And earlier this year they
And
talked about getting a best stunt Oscar. Like it was like a big push by the director of John Wick, and I really hope we can get that for movies like this.
you know what's funny?
Mm.
Rome has had a really rough year. It got terrorized in John Wick. It got terrorized in the new Fast and Furious. It got terrorized again by Mission Impossible.
What else is gonna terrorize
When
them?
in Rome.
When in Rome, like yeah, I guess you got to fight on the big car circle. I'm showing my American here, but
That's
I
in
think
France,
there were
dude.
two. Was that in France?
Dude,
In John Wick?
Yes.
Oh,
Man.
that was in front of the Ark. Shit. All right. Well, there's another big car circle in this movie that is in Rome.
The comparisons to John Wick 4 is something that I'll talk about more because those comparisons were definitely on my mind more at the start of the movie.
Yeah, this movie did feel like a little bit more John Wicky than Mission Impossible at times.
Yeah,
Which
honestly,
honestly,
that's fine.
I don't know. I kind of disagree. Honestly, I feel like this movie was. I didn't really like the nightclub stuff.
No.
I feel like it was a little slow. I liked everything afterwards in Venice. That whole sequence was awesome. Like running through the alleys and it ended up in Rebecca Ferguson's character's death, which I think was just to get her to go film Dune. But I thought it was a good scene, and it definitely kind of circulated the character dynamic between my God, what's his name? The villain in this.
I kind of
Gabriel.
forget.
Gabriel. Yeah, I thought that was a cool way to bring it back to the beginning of the franchise.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Is I also think that 1 is pretty important to watch because
Oh, for sure.
this directly ties into Ethan being very protective of his friends, which I don't think it's explicitly said. That does go back to the first one, and I think that definitely the stop they want to pull out is that this villain takes him back to kind of the way we got to know his character, to the low spot that we got to know him with.
Well, he even says in the movie, he says, in a very real sense, he made me who I am, and it flashes back to him shooting one of Tom Cruise's, Ethan Hunt's companions, and according to Ethan, quote, made him who he is in a very real way.
Okay.
So that's all I got on Gabriel. The rest, I mean, you guys have seen more of these movies than I have.
I mean, Gabriel didn't really blow me away or anything.
No.
I feel like Tom Cruise is just a way more I hate to use the word menacing, but a way more like powerful looking.
You mean Henry
dude.
Cavill?
No, Tom Cruise is just when matched up against Gabriel, I just wasn't really buying it as much as like Henry Cavill, for instance.
Yeah, well, let's talk a little bit about Henry Cavill because I think he was one of the most universally loved aspects of Fallout.
Yeah, I mean he's fantastic in that movie.
He's got a great mustache. He has an iconic move where he reloads his fists. As a mustache haver, I can appreciate his character.
I could see them wishing that they hadn't killed him off.
Yeah.
No, I think his character had his due. I don't think he needed to stay.
I do wonder if they wish though that they could have brought him in for this 2-parter with like the motivation set up for revenge and just keep going with him for like the big finale.
What do we think about the villain we do have, even I would say the villain of this movie is less so Gabriel, more so the entity, the AI. What do you think about that?
Jacob, you want to take it first?
I mean, it's all right. Like I couldn't get attached to the concept. Um I thought it took narrative risks, like giving us a MacGuffin that we just simply don't understand is like actually I thought was pretty compelling,
Hmm.
but I don't know. There's a lot of AI stuff going on right now in media. Like
Yeah.
the creators coming out later this year, which also looks all right, but it's
Well, you
just
gotta
like
admit
It looks neat.
it's pertinent to what's going on in the
for
world.
sure, yeah. I just didn't know if this was the best like commentary. I don't really think it had much to say, you know.
I personally think it was all right with how it was done, but I think a human antagonist opposite Tom Cruise is the way to go for this franchise. I don't mind the entity as a plot device, but I don't think it should take the place of basically a primary antagonist.
Well, it seemed like to me they were trying to have their cake and eat it too a little bit
Yeah.
with Gabriel and the entity, where they have the overarching main bad guy, which is the entity, but then they need someone for Tom Cruise to hit with a knife, so they put in Gabriel. But as a result, you can't really flesh out this AI because it's just a super intelligent AI that knows everything and turned evil because that's what they do. And then Gabriel is just working for the AI. So, and it sounds like I'm kind of dunking on this movie, but I really did like it. I feel like I'm the type of person who went to this movie to see Tom Cruise do stunts, for the record. And
Yeah.
the story that was in this movie was, I don't want to say serviceable because it entertained me for sure, and I want to know what happens next. But I don't know. I feel it's there's a reason it's an 8 and not a 9 or a 10, and part of that reason is that you can have as many awesome action sequences in your movie as you want. I think the one that stuck out the most to me was probably when they were on top of the train and then they get down and they're going through a tunnel and then Gabriel is still trying to knife Ethan while they're like hunkered down under
Yeah.
this tunnel going a million miles an hour. It's like,
That
dude,
was fun.
you cannot wait for like 2 minutes. You're gonna
The
get your head knocked
It
off.
was good
my
stuff.
favorite set piece was when I mean James and I are gonna be annoying about this is
Let's
when the
do it.
train had gone off the cliff and they were climbing up it and it was just Uncharted 2. And
Direct lift.
I mean it was its own thing. I'm not gonna say this is like just like Uncharted 2 on screen, but it was just so cool to like see what could have been.
I would take Tom Cruise, Nathan Drake over
Well,
Tom Holland any day.
I would have taken Nathan Fillion, but I'm
heck
not
yeah.
gonna go into that.
Ne-
Um I don't know. It was really the
Everything
final
with the train
sequence
was pretty great,
the final
honestly.
sequence on the train, especially when like the grand piano was like hanging on by a thread and then it like came crashing down. That was just nail biting. I mean,
It was good
When the
stuff.
piano fell and it destroyed the floor, and you could see how high up
yeah.
they were, and they were hanging there. Yeah, that was good stuff.
And the best thing this movie did in my opinion was the camera work. I'm usually not the biggest stickler about this kind of thing or like one to like really gush about it, but this movie's camera work was just insane. I mean, every single scene was doing something interesting with the camera. The fights had so much weight to them, mostly because of the camera, in my opinion.
Hmm.
Um, Always taking different
It
angles,
was well edited too.
moving around with the characters. It was crazy, especially on the train sequence. I mean, I guess they were filming that with like a helicopter or a drone or something. I don't know. I absolutely loved the camera work in this movie. I thought it was very impressive.
Yeah,
Um,
Jacob, you
Very
covered
noticeable. Very noticeable.
you covered the stuff about the train pretty well, so I won't get too much into it. I will say, I think it was like I don't know if they played Uncharted 2. If they did, I don't care because they did it so well and it was so fun. I don't care if it was like a direct, nod. I will say the one thing that I think it did better, which is probably just because it's filmmaking, it's not a video game, is the way that every single cart was about to fall off as they were climbing up it. That made it nail biting.
And every cart was a different setup and a different threat. There was the one cart that had the fire going on, and then the piano cart, and
Yeah,
didn't
good.
a lesser train falling off a bridge scene would have had them just scurry up a bunch of chairs and then call it a day. But this one, every single cart, it almost did feel video gamey. Like every cart's a level they have to get over. It was really cool.
And the editing was great. So like when they had the final cart fall off, I legitimately thought they were in there. I kind of paused for a second, and then it cuts and it shows them with like a perfect cut. It shows them already standing in the other one.
There was a lot of fun cuts like that.
It got me.
A funny aside as well. I don't know his name, but one of like this government agents who was tracking Ethan throughout the whole movie. They have that one really long on foot chase scene, him and his partner chasing Ethan through the streets. That's the same dude who played the cop in Joker, who also had a really long chase scene with his partner, only he was chasing Joker through New York. So when I saw that guy running after Ethan is doing the Tom Cruise run down an alleyway. He's going, "Ethan, stop!" It made me think of Joker, so that was kind of fun. I like Joker. But he actually he actually saves Gabriel, because I think Tom Cruise, Ethan was going to kill him. Like he looked him in the eyes and he started pushing the knife in anyway. So
he was gonna do it.
It's interesting to see he's not like a perfect protagonist who he's gonna get there and Luke Skywalker it and throw his lightsaber away. No, dude, he was gonna stab him in the throat until.
I mean, he was stabbing him. He was stabbing him in the hood. Yeah, this is more of a fun action movie than espionage, intellectual, like make you think movie. Like I would argue, like the first one is and 6 is. It reminds me a lot of 4, which
That's
4
fair.
has got probably the best set pieces in the franchise, but is a little campy and doesn't have the depth of the writing as the other ones do. But it is just like so iconic and is just like such a fun watch. I feel the same way about this one.
Yeah, I really am trying to think of any other thoughts that I have on the movie other than great to see Simon Pegg again.
Yeah, I love Simon Pegg.
He's been a mainstay, always funny. This was a really refreshing blockbuster after a string of frustrating 6 out of 10 movies with a lot of obnoxious CGI and writing.
We genuinely liked a movie on this podcast.
I know.
This feels like a definite uptick for the summer.
Okay.
But I think this is, to close out my thoughts for this movie. First of all, go see it if you have any desire to. If you want to see cool stunts, go see it. You'll get a lot out of it. It can be that simple if you want it to be. But if you want a entertaining, if a little surface level spy thriller about Tom Cruise fighting a big AI, I got great news for you. It's what the movie's about, and it's pretty good. It's an 8 out of 10. Yeah, go see movies in theaters if you want to have the option to in the future.
All right, I'm also going to give this an 8 out of 10. I think it's just another solid entry in this incredibly consistent franchise, which I think is like honestly like the most impressive thing about this is that we're on movie 7 and we're still like really enjoying them and they still all have their own identity. I don't feel like this movie is really like retreading anything. The stunts in this are incredible, and the train set piece honestly might be my favorite in the franchise. I heavily recommend it. Go see it. It's fun. It is a little long. I do think you'll get more out of it if you've seen the other installments in the franchise. So maybe take this as an opportunity to catch up because 6 is very good. And I think these two movies are going to go very well together. And I'm excited for 8. I think this movie, I know it's another part 1 movie. I know we've had 3 movies this summer end with to be continued. But I do think it does a good job of being its own thing while setting up the next installment. So yeah, James.
Good movie.
The fact that they pulled out these stops and made such an exciting, fun movie, and it's only a part 1, which that does make me excited for, part 2. What does Tom Cruise bring out for that? So I'm excited to see that. This was.
I want to know how he gets down in the submarine.
8 out of 10. Great fun movie and a nice bit of a cleanse from the last couple blockbusters.
Holy Plot. I'm Liam. That's Jacob. That's James. Thank you for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, ring the bell. Thank you, baby. Good night.